back in a big way. Hall of Fame game last night between the Panthers and the Cardinals. Look at this Hall of Fame class. It's a good-looking group. Larry Fitz, Drew Brees headlining it. Here's Carson Beck, third-round pick. Cardinals' second drive of the game, 3rd and 7 from their own 7. Downfield to Jalen Brooks, who snags it on the run. Gain of 35. Fitzgerald loves it. Later in the drive, Mike T. What do you think of Carson Beck's poise here?
I love it, and I love the anticipation. This is also going to be a touchdown, a completion, or an incompletion. This is a perfect throw at that part of the field.
Next Cardinals drive, tied at 7, 1st and 10 from their own 40. Harry Douglas, you've been involved in plenty of these. We can catch it, but can we hold on? Bang!
Hey, just give the wide receiver an opportunity. I love the trajectory on the football. Nice air underneath it. The receiver catches it, takes a big hit. First down, Arizona Cardinals.
Later in the drive, 3rd and 4 from inside the 5. Here's Beck with the floater, Simi Fujoko.
Just give the receiver a chance.
Look at this back shoulder throw.
Throw to that back pylon. It's a touchdown or a completion. That's a perfect throw.
Beck, 15 of 19, extremely efficient. Last time you saw him was in the national championship game. All right, here we go. End of the game, 2 seconds left. Panthers trailing by 3. Mike Tirico on the call.
Game on the line. King, he's going to step up. Pumps, runs, goal line. Is he in? Yes! Carolina wins! Haynes King, king of the night.
The undrafted free agent out of Georgia Tech, tuck and run, lower the shoulder. We're trying to make rosters around these parts. Haynes would finish 21 of 34, a $180, 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. Panthers win 33-30. They cover the number. They go over the total for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. All right. I think we'd all agree that's enough Fortin ball. So we're going to begin. Tim Hasselbeck. Question. What's the downside of starting Carson Beck early in the season?
Listen, I don't know that there's a downside. Don't want to overreact after one preseason game. However, when you just look at the situation in terms of Beck, when he was at Georgia, there's a lot of people that thought that he was projecting to be a first-round draft pick. So, first you just look at the player and say, all right, does he have the skill set that you could say, look, we could build around this type of player? Could he be a franchise quarterback? And if it weren't for a bad elbow injury at Georgia, which really forced his move to Miami, I think the overwhelming feeling would have been yes. And so then you look at, the situation there with Brissett. He's a bridge quarterback. So, look, I think that if Beck can play at a starter level, I do think it makes sense for the organization.
Mike T.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, he's 24 years old. He started 55 games in college. So that's what we saw last night. Accuracy, anticipation, his experience showed up. One thing that really manifested itself is, do they consider moving on from Gardner Minshew, start Jacoby Brissett, develop Carson Beck? And if there's teams out there, like let's say the Rams, who may need a quality backup, Gardner Minshew could be available if Beck keeps playing well.
I mean, given the state of where the Arizona Cardinals are right now, how much would it hurt if Beck was in there to start the season?
Well, you don't really want to start a rookie, but he has a lot of cachet or a lot of snaps under his belt. I just love how comfortable he looked taking the snaps last night. Very decisive in his decision-making, the first 3rd down. He didn't, panic in the pocket. He tucked it, ran, picked up the first down. The different type of balls that he was throwing to wide receivers, whether it was in the middle of the football field, throwing it sharp and low, or trajectory, giving that wide receiver opportunity to run underneath it. I love what I see from Carson Beck in week 1.
Looking calm, looking efficient. That's what the coaches want to see, especially when it's your first start. Business on the field yesterday, which we just discussed. Business off the field as well as the Lions. And 3-time Pro Bowl running back Jahmyr Gibbs have agreed to a contract extension, making him the highest paid running back in NFL history. The deal is a 3-year, $67 million contract that could be worth up to $75 million with 51 guaranteed, surpassing Bijan Robinson's deal, which was signed earlier in the week. Now, before this week, there was only one $20 million per year running back. That was Saquon Barkley. Now, 3 more have been added to the payroll. Jahmyr Gibbs, the aforementioned Robinson, and the Indianapolis Colts. Get there, Fortin ball, Jonathan Taylor. Harry, your reaction, Gibbs, getting a big deal yesterday, surpassing Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions, they had to do this deal. You look at them defensively, they're missing a lot of pieces. They have to be so sharp offensively to get back to what they was back in 2024 and also 2023, and that's winning at the highest level and winning this NFC North as a division. I would say this is also indicative of how the running backs are now in today's game. You have guys not just rushing the football effectively, but also playing a major role in the pass game. That's what we see from Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and then now Jahmyr Gibbs, even James Cook when you look at the Buffalo Bills. These running backs aren't just rushers. These are guys that can do a multiple of different things on the football field for your offense.
Let's talk about that for a second, because it's starting to feel like the view of the running back position might be evolving a bit.
Yes, Joe, but to Harry's point, they have to impact the passing game. I believe we have a graphic on this. The guys that just got paid recently, Bijan Robinson, here we go. You look at Christian McCaffrey and Jahmyr Gibbs. Look at what they've done in the passing games. And I would actually tell you from a front office perspective, at $22.5 million a year for Jahmyr Gibbs, who also has 49 touchdowns, that's great value. The top receivers, Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, those guys are at $40 million and above, taking nothing away from them. But that's almost, these guys are almost like 50 cents on the dollar, and they are explosive playmakers. These were no-brainers. They're young, they're productive, they're high character. Great job by Detroit and Atlanta.
Let's get Hasselbeck in here. Tim, is the NFL's view of the running backs in the correct spot now?
I believe that it is because, to Mike's point about the guys that are getting paid, in terms of their production in the passing game, you can't find a single offensive coordinator in the NFL that, wants to be in a scenario where he's got to take his running back off the field on third down. Like the guys that we're talking about, you can leave out there, and quite frankly, they create massive matchup problems for people in the passing game. So that's a huge factor in this. And I would just say this, it's really about, my opinion, the longevity at the position that has, kept salaries, where they are when you look at, running backs relative to left tackles or wide receivers or quarterbacks. I mean, that's typically what the issue is. So, for these guys, guys 24 years old signing 3-year, contract extensions, they're well under 30 at that point. You got to think that, you're getting them in the prime of their career. And with these guys that we're talking about, because they're good in the passing game, you're talking about 20 touches a game, for players like this.
Harry.
I would also add, when you go into defensive coordinators' meeting rooms, the first person on their list to stop from a game plan perspective is going to be Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. So that's letting you know that the money is well spent and you're getting these players off a good value, because those defensive coordinators are not saying, hey, we got to stop this receiver. No, we have to stop this run game. That's the number one thing defensively that a lot of defensive coordinators preach to their players. We must stop the run. Well, these guys not only rush the football, you got to figure out a way to stop these guys in the pass game as well.
And I was going to say, Tim makes a really good point in terms of the mismatches. There's no linebacker or safety that can play in space and play man-to-man against either Bijan Robinson or certainly Jahmyr Gibbs. So now you got to take a corner on a running back. So there's a lot of creative ways to use these players.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 5.87 yards per touch for his career. And keep in mind, with David Montgomery there, he's never gone over 250 carries in a season. Unlike Jonathan Taylor, a lot less wear on those tires. Coming up, the Saquon drop from number